Hi everyone, and welcome to what is essentially a new series on the channel. It's something I've been working on for a while. It's like a sort of cast commentary interview sort of series where I'm going to sit
suggest
down.
a name?
Of course.
Under the Hood.
Oh, that's a good name. So yeah, THANATOS Prime is with us. We'll get
Hello,
into
everybody.
his characters. But yeah, this is an idea I've had for a while. It's a bit like an interview almost, not like for a job or anything, but I'm going to be sitting down with each cast member hopefully at some point and talking individually about their characters one at a time. So these podcasts will length from potentially 20-30 minutes to an hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on who I talk to and what we have to talk about. As for when these episodes will come out, I'm not too sure, but it's definitely something that I'm looking forward to. And hopefully one day some of the cast members can interview me about my series and how I got into stop motion.
Or about our own respective series, hint, hint.
Of course, hint, hint. We will have a bit of a break in the middle, so when me and THANATOS need a bit of a breather, or we think you need a breather, we will have a little bit of a break where I actually show you a minute or two clip from my stop motion series that's going to be relevant to what we're talking about. So, yeah, today we're going to be talking about THANATOS Prime voicing Starscream. So yeah. Anything you want to start off with, THANATOS, or do you want me to sort of get into the questions?
Basically, I really like voicing Starscream for you. I voice him in my own series, and it's great to help me get into that headspace of that conniving son of a glitch.
I mean, to be honest, when I was first getting into stop motion, with a lot of the characters, I had like other voice actors and actresses. Like I had a different one for RC, I had a different one for Starscream and other characters in Megatron, and even some of the Autobots. But I think sometimes you get, you come across certain voice actors sometimes where you just think they're right for the role. And I love all of my voice actors, but I think each character as well, when they go through a certain stage of life, certain voices suit them more. Like in Dawn of Corruption, I had another one voice Megatron and Starscream, as I said, and I think that their voice suited it for that project as well, because that's like that part of the life of that character. But as you evolve a character and they change bodies or they mature, naturally their voice changes, and I think your voice of Starscream definitely has that alpha male sort of Starscream that I was going for in the End of Days.
Thank you. And I know one of our projects, it was a prequel we did, you had me actually change the pitch of my voice.
Yeah, so if you go back and watch certain prequel stories, just to name a couple, they would be Head Start. So Head Start, we do see Starscream very briefly as his younger self, and we will see Starscream in other stories as well. Hint, hint, I have a story called Frenemies, which is, let's just say, it's going to be a story you don't want to miss. It's not going to come out for a long while. Let's put it this way, it's probably as big as a project at End of Days, and that's a project that I'm going to do in the future. But we are going to see a young Starscream there, and it's going to be a different sort of take on Starscream a little bit, but obviously you're going to be voicing him, and it's going to be his younger self.
Yeah, and about that, you're a braver person than me for messing with that figure with all the gold plastic on it.
Yeah, it's my... that Starscream, both of his hands are glued. Like, both of his thumbs broke off, so I super glued both his thumbs together. His heel broke, so that's glued. One of his wings bust off. And I was looking for another Protoform Starscream at TF Nation, actually, because I remember telling you about that, because I was going to customize one into Skywarp and Thundercracker. So I was looking for an extra 3, Skywarp, Thundercracker, and then a backup Starscream figure, but I couldn't find them. I don't think I found them. Or if I did, it was like ridiculously expensive.
It's gold plastic, dude. It's super fragile, but I mean, anything gold.
I know. And I do think about replacing that figure with, if I ever did a Studio Series figure, because hopefully they're going to do an Optimus Prime, because if they do a Protoform Optimus Prime for Studio Series, I'll definitely use that in my series and just...
I mean, even if
write it in.
It's kind of like what they said with Studio Series 86. Even if the character only shows up for like a few seconds, they're gonna get a figure.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we see like Canopy or the Mountain Dew bot dispenser. Or
imagine if we got a Unicron, an 86 Unicron, right after HasLab.
Tempting, but I don't know how much Hasbro wants to touch a box office bomb.
I know.
Well, they did with Mohawk, so
I actually enjoyed The Last Night personally. I'm one of the few people who would like it. I understand why people don't like it, but it's actually, and if you go and watch other people's videos on it, they agree that there's a lot more robot to robot interaction than the previous films. And that's something I think I like about The Last Night, how there is more interaction between the Cybertronians with each other.
It's more enjoyable for me than Age of Extinction, because Age of Extinction, I watch it, I like it less and less every time I see it. I
hear a few people say that, but again, I like him. I can't really fault. Well, I like all Transformers anyway, but the Bayverse is my thing, so I'm never gonna not enjoy it.
Well, I think some of it's just the crappy acting. Like whoever played the boyfriend, that dude's supposed to be Irish, but there's moments where he loses the accent, and it's like, dude, come on.
And speaking of Bayverse, that's a huge inspiration for my series, because I remember when I started out early, I would only use live action figures. I wouldn't use any G1 or any like sort of generation style figures. And as the years have gone on, I've sort of realized, it's limiting just to limit myself to the Bayverse figures. I'll try and keep it primarily Bayverse figures, but I've got to incorporate, some generation figures now and then, Trigger Happy for one, Quake, Croc, Eight Face, Snapdragon, those sort of characters.
Snapdragon provided by yours truly.
That's a hint of maybe who will come in the series one day. But yeah, I think it's good to not limit yourself with what you use.
Definitely. I was the same way when I first wanted to do my series. I was only using the Revenge of the Fallen and Hunt for the Decepticons toys. It really wasn't until Dark of the Moon, because I gotta be honest with you, Dark of the Moon, I really didn't like that toy line that much.
I think one thing people agree on is the best toy line was probably Revenge of the Fallen.
Definitely, or Hunt for the Decepticons. I had so much fun with Hunt for the Decepticons.
Oh, you have no idea how hard it was to try and track down Battle Blaze Optimus Prime. I have two. Yeah, I have 2 copies of that figure because the first one's just it broke and broke and broke.
I understand having multiple copies. I have that with Legacy Motormaster. Just because the hinges cracking on his shoulders.
See, I don't really touch my Motormaster, so it's not something I've noticed. So you've kind of scared me.
Some copies had that. A lot of copies had that issue. I don't know if they ever fixed it, but there was also the fact that some copies came yellowed right out of the box. I think it sucks because he's such a cool character and he's such a cool figure. I love Motormaster. That's honestly, I think I would have liked Age of Extinction better had they
made
done him as the main villain.
Yeah. I suppose it makes sense because then you could get Stinger as one of the Stunticons, and then you could have like the KSI Trax bots as the other Stunticons. But then you'd probably get people complaining saying this isn't the Stunticons.
You do that with everybody. Like Transformers fans are some of the most annoying to please sometimes. Well, it's like everything has to be G1. Everything has to be like their childhood exactly. Otherwise, they're not going to like it. And, sometimes I get that. But sometimes it's like, come on, guys, grow up.
Yeah.
Do you really want the main villain to be a giant purple griffin?
Is that my surname? I thought you were going somewhere with that. But no,
yes,
I think
you're clearly a giant purple griffin. It's not always about you, Daniel.
I never said it was. I just thought it was. It was just a bit. Oh well. Anyway, I think that's a good thing about making your own series, though. You can make it how you want it. So my Starscream's cut out of a big mixture.
I like how your Starscream has like a lot of power behind him. He's not just all hot air.
Yeah, and we will see a lot more in End of Days Part 2. So just a little update for people who's watching it. I'm working on End of Days Part 2 now. I had a lot of sort of issues in the last 2 years, and I didn't feel well enough to take the project on. And I think now I'm at a stage where I'm feeling a lot better, and I'm sort of mentally able to take that project on. So that's something that I'm really looking forward to. And Starscream in that project, he is. I mean, we ended End of Days Part 1, spoiler alert, by the way. But we ended End of Days Part 1 with Megatron returning after Starscream essentially, got all the power to himself, not by greed, but almost like he's earned it almost. And
of course I've earned it. I'm Starscream. I'm entitled to it.
Mm-hmm. And you've got Barricade and, the old Decepticon Order and the new Decepticon Order, both battling it out, and then Megatron comes back right in the middle of it. So, we're going to see where that goes.
Do I kill any more Viacons?
No.
Aww.
No. But, I mean, do you have any sort of, without obviously going in spoiler territory, do you have any sort of comments about where Starscream goes if you remember the screenplay? It was a long time ago, so I don't remember.
There was one thing we discussed. I don't think this counts as spoilerish towards the end there. Remember when Starscream has his little rant at the end?
Yeah.
And Predaking apologizes.
Yeah.
Is Starscream actually gonna care about something other than himself for once, or?
He does care, yeah. It's not within the caring of like Optimus Prime for Bumblebee, like if he was to die of like, oh no, Bumblebee, and start crying. But if Predaking like died or if he is injured, Starscream would definitely be like, sort of, I don't want to say distressed and crying, but he'd definitely have some sort of emotion. It wouldn't be like
annoyance, like,
damn, he was my best employee. He made the best potato salad.
Not even that. Even a bit more emotion than that, to be fair. He would be a little bit upset because Predaking's probably the only one who will go to the end.
He's the only one that knew how to file my taxes.
But with Predaking is, as we've discussed before, Predaking only knows Starscream as he is now when he's in power. He's never seen what he was like before. So if you had the old Starscream in like Dawn of Corruption Part 1 or the Starscream and Cybertron, if he interacted with Predaking, it would be a different relationship. Starscream probably would try and almost get rid of Predaking if he became a threat, whereas now Starscream's very much, power, same power level as Predaking, and they both respect each other. So it's a very different relationship now, and that's how Starscream's matured.
It is nice to see Starscream actually respect somebody for once in his life.
Yeah, and even Knockout to a degree as well. In Dawn of Corruption Part 3, Starscream, he was sort of a little bit annoyed by Knockout, but he mainly used him for his intelligence. And even at the end when Megatron, quote-unquote, died.
I do like the dynamic you kept between them from Transformers Prime.
Yeah, it was definitely sort of inspired by that. In my original series, it was Starscream and Swindle. And they never really made another Swindle figure. I don't think I ever had the Combiner Wars at that time. So
might get one according to a leak. I don't know. It would be cool to see, though.
Yeah, we're probably going to get remakes of all the Combiners now, so...
I hope so, but it's like at the same time, I just got a bunch of these ones.
I know. But yeah, so when Starscream takes power in Dawn of Corruption Part 3, he basically says, all hail Starscream. Then Knockout comes right at the end saying, and Knockout, don't forget me. And Starscream's just saying, yeah, and him. So
yes, he's not the star of the show. We all know it's me.
He's like that, yes. And then obviously over the years, as Megatron's away and Starscream actually learns leadership, Knockout almost becomes a vital part of Starscream's reign because it's Starscream, Knockout, and all the Predacons against the Old Order. If you don't know who the Old Order is, that's basically everyone who is loyal to Megatron. Barricade, Black Hat Brawl,
the
Lockdown.
Foolish Order, if you ask me.
I think Lockdown's an interesting character as well. That's something I'm going to touch upon in the future. I haven't finished with Lockdown yet, but Lockdown essentially becomes, he's this hard bounty hunter, and then slowly he gets incorporated into the Decepticons, and then he becomes a bit of a team player, and it's kind of like he's gone from a lone wolf to a team player, and where will that go? Will it benefit him or will it hinder him?
That's definitely unique. I've never heard of a or lockdown story like that besides like Cyberverse, but that's one of the few Cyberverse characters I just was not a fan of.
Yeah, he was definitely different in Cyberverse. I like it when they take on different things, but he definitely didn't have that
when it's
Age of
not
Extinction
too
threatening
different.
vibe.
I mean, that'd be like making Perceptor a moron in a series. It's just, that's way too far out there.
It'd be cool if they had it done with another character, like they had like Clobber, who was clearly like a Lugnut inspiration, but they had it, with a separate character. Like if they had Lockdown, but had him something else, and it was like a different character.
I could see her and Lugnut being like siblings in a series.
Yeah, definitely. I can see that as well. But yeah, Lugnut, what a character.
I want Lugnut in the movies.
The live action ones?
Yeah, why not?
He would be like overpowered, I know that. Oh, imagine if Michael Bay brought Lugnut in. Oh my gosh, imagine the punch of kill everything.
That's
Imagine
like
how
right up
devastating
Bay's
it would be.
alley. Like, I'm amazed Bay never bothered to do that.
I mean, there was a hunt for the Decepticons Lugnut, so
I know. That thing was a pain in the butt to find.
Oh, you're going to hate me. Because I got him from TF Nation, and he was dirt cheap, and I was the first one to order him. And basically, it was like an online auction thing.
My uncle got me one, and I had that thing for years. The leg broke, so I ended up buying a junker. I was so pissed when the leg snapped off.
I have like an issue with the top of Lugnut's like alt mode, where it sort of folds down and becomes his head. There's like some panels, and they keep falling off. It's kind of hard to describe, but they keep falling off, and his legs, because they're on like they're not even a mushroom peg. They're just.
I'm so hoping that Generations can give us a leader class, if not a commander class, Lugnut. Like leader would be perfect.
Yeah. I guarantee if they had a leader class Lugnut, the old Hunt for Decepticons one would just become redundant and no one would want it. I guarantee.
Or that weird United one with the purple face. Yo, we were supposed to get a retool of that thing. They showed it in the instructions, but we never figured out who it was for.
Who knows?
Because it looked like a generic like Decepticon drone.
But yeah, it'd be interesting to have a Lugnut in the main series, and I actually was going to have Lugnut in my series, but I won't say why because the project's not come out yet. But I decided not to have Lugnut.
When?
Yeah, I was going to have him. Yeah, I was going to have him in one of my future projects. That's not come out, so I replaced him with a different character, and it made sense to replace him with that character. And if I ever do, I've said it loads of times, in my series, every single character exists. Even if I don't show them, they exist.
So Leadfoot exists, obviously. Cogman, does he exist?
Somewhere in my universe he would. Even if I haven't come up with a story, I've sort of come up with my own sort of
Reedman
narrative that every character, whether they are alive for a day and get killed off straight away, or whether
even
they
Alice
somewhere. I mean, it doesn't have to be Alice. She could literally not be the pretender self, but it could be Alice just like as a minicon or like a pretender somewhere else on Cybertron. But it doesn't have to follow the same rules as she does in the film.
Even the toaster?
Somewhere.
Making evil toast.
Yeah. He'll burn it and set the fire alarm off.
Oh, that's just messed up.
I know. But yeah, getting back on track, with your character and Starscream, is there anything you want to see from Starscream that I've not done yet, or is something that is coming that you're excited for that hasn't come yet?
I definitely want to see more of the dynamic between him and Predaking. Because I do like that. I want to see more of the dynamic between him and some of the Autobots. Because we see him fight some Autobots, but you don't see him like... I haven't really interacted with that many Autobots since I've taken over the role.
There was one line in End of Days Part 1 where Wheeljack basically talks about how Starscream become more powerful, and he's on the level of like Megatron and Optimus, and he does actually show CCTV footage of a fight between Starscream and Prime, if you remember that.
Vaguely.
Yeah, so he basically puts up a really good fight against Prime where at the end they both injure themselves and they're both sort of kneeling on the floor just staring at each other, and that stare's kind of thinking, you know, this other person could kill me, I don't want to go on anymore, I don't want to fight them because I'm so exhausted and injured, but I know that I'm going to have to because they equally feel the same way. And that's the danger of Starscream now, because it's not like the old Starscream could kill you, but it would be if you turn your back. This Starscream, he'll do it right in front of you.
Or he'll have Predaking do it.
Yeah, and Predaking will rip you limb from limb, like, spoiler alert, for 1518 Days Without an Accident. There was an accident, and, well, not an accident, but Predaking just destroyed Silverbolt.
He had it coming.
Yeah, I regret killing Silverbolt. But it's going to serve a story, you know. It really will.
As long as it serves the story, that's all that counts.
Yeah, and I think with, you know, characters like Starscream, you know, he was the one who sent Predaking on that mission as well. And Predaking, you know, a lot happened in that episode. You know, Knockout nearly died, and then he was in critical condition right at the end. Because Predaking was looking down at him. You know,
it's probably my favorite Predaking episode.
Yeah, he's really brutal, and we will see Predaking fight more, and a little bit of something to look forward to as well with Predaking. He's only got one hand now, so Roadbuster cut one of his hands off with his chainsaw.
He's a jerk.
I mean, he fought Ultra Magnus with one hand, and he pretty much almost beat Magnus. Magnus only won because he swung his hammer at his head so many times. So he's a tank, not literally, but he's, you know, he can throw punches and he can receive punches. I mean, just think that the fact that you've got Magnus, Optimus, Starscream, Megatron, they're millions of years old, and Predaking is only several years old, and he's already at their level. Kind of crazy to think about.
He's destroying bots at a 3rd grade level. I'm proud of him.
I think one of my favorite shots in End of Days is when Starscream shouts Decepticons attack when he's in jet mode, and they're all sort of jumping from the Nemesis onto Byzantium, and they're just annihilating the cannons.
There was lots of barrel rolls in that scene.
Yeah, Starscream does one as well. Lots of barrel rolls. How would you like to take a quick break, and we'll show the audience a clip?
Yes, let's do that.
Sounds good. So we'll be right back after these messages.
After these messages.
Stay tuned.
Or else you'll get fragged. By yours truly, Starscream.
Lord Starscream?
Do any of you know what we just lost? No, I didn't think so. Because if you did, I wouldn't have been the only one who gave chase! Thundercracker gave chase to the Allspark too, and where is he? You all retreated at the first sign of defeat, like the vermin cowards you all are! You left behind the only one of you that gave chase and tried to do something! You are all unfit to be called Decepticons.
Apologies, my lord. I have failed.
Plan B. Wipe out the rest of the Autobots. Soundwave, power up the Nemesis' fusion cannons to maximum power and target the Xanthium center, where Makeshift planted the bomb. Rip the Xanthium in two.
But Makeshift's still aboard the Xanthium.
He is expendable like you and the rest of your cult that remain loyal to him.
Megatron isn't dead, Starscream.
I saw him die. You saw him die. We all saw him die. He's gone. And he's far better left in the past where he belongs. Soundwave, are those cannons ready or what? I'm starting to rust here.
Cannons are at 90% charge.
To the rest of you who continue to remain loyal to Megatron, word of advice, don't. He's dead. And if you all continue to disobey me, you'll be too.
But Megatron.
That spawning Unicron. He didn't have to do that.
Fusion cannons charged.
Fire!
Okay, so we are back. I hope you enjoyed that end of days clip that I just showed. So while I was away on the break, I was just thinking, I had another Starscream that basically crumbled due to GPS. That was the Nebula Starscream from Revenge of the Fallen. The one
That
who
green
featured... Yeah, the brown, goldy one with the green sort of teal highlights. That was in Dawn of Corruption Part 1, 2, and 3, and my gosh, you have never seen anything crumble
You
like
are
that
the
before.
second person who keeps talking about that figure being super fragile.
It was fine, and then just bit by bit, he just broke apart.
I think TFA said he went through like 3 or 4 copies of that thing. Even just
What,
the standard one.
Oh, wow.
It might just be some with that mold.
It could be. It could be. But for you with Starscream, do you have anything that you want to sort of comment on or talk
I
about like
have
now?
a question.
Or
Are his tattoos? Are those ever going to play a role at all, or no?
Function wise?
Function or just lore wise? I'm just curious about what your take would be on his tattoos if you incorporate those.
So as for function, I don't really have a function for them. In the movies, Starscream actually sort of scratched themselves onto him, so they weren't like lasered on. He actually scratches himself and makes the tattoos. So for me, there's sort of different stages of Starscream where on Dawn of Corruption Part 1, 2, and 3, he's got the sort of nebula look where he has it sort of teal highlights of the tattoos. And then because I don't have that figure anymore, I'm going to have to use the Revenge of the Fallen Studio Series Starscream where he does have the tattoos. So it's like he's gone into his new body now, but he still retains them tattoos. And
But
I'm
he's
going to
got
use...
that has like a more pale color scheme though, right?
It
If I remember
does.
correctly.
Yeah, it does. So he's going to have tattoos still, but he's going to be in his new body now because he's got all this energon. So that's how I'm going to write that in. That body will probably be in the expanding universe called Rebellion. And then as we go into sort of end of days, that's when he's going to clear himself for tattoos and just have his normal Studio Series look. So he's sort of gone from his old body style with tattoos to his new body style with tattoos, just a different colour. And then later on, he sort of wipes himself clean in his new body and just has a clean colour palette. But as for the function of the tattoos, I don't have anything to show for that. It's just sort of design purposes, really.
Please, it's Starscream. You know I have to roll in style.
Of course. Yeah.
If I sound a little out of it, guys, I've been fighting a freaking respiratory virus the past week.
Even Starscream gets ill with his energon.
Well, sometimes I get sick of you.
I won't blame you. I think with Starscream, he does get to a point where he's just fed up though. It's like when he's having that argument, your favourite scene in the movie, and that Vehicon, he just shoots them, and it's almost like that old Starscream sort of creep to the surface. Not massively, but he sort of let his temper got a little bit hold of him, and he's, still, he's got that anger, but it's a little bit more controlled now. I think before he would have probably gone up to that Viacon, and rather than just shoot him, probably use his like claws, like in Transformers Prime.
Slap
like,
his head off.
Yeah, gut the Viacon, scratch them, claw them. He would have been a lot more brutal.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I still like how Starscream reacted, though. And apparently so did quite a few people in the live chat when you debuted that.
Yeah. I really can't wait to show how he interacts with Megatron. Because a lot of people are going to think, oh, Starscream's just going to go down with one punch from Megatron. He's going to come back and just slap Starscream across the face, and then that's it. Well, it's a little bit of a different story now, Starscream, so...
I like how different your story is overall.
But yeah, it's definitely something I'm looking forward to.
Same here. Me and the Megatron actor, we don't really interact that much. We haven't really interacted since that prequel. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, it's definitely surprising how well actors can actually interact with never having any interaction. When I went to TF Nation, I met Jeremy Levy, who voiced Bumblebee in Cyberverse. And one thing I said to him, Harrison was with me at the time, and I said to him, I loved how well you meshed with Windblade's voice actress. You just got on so naturally. And Jeremy actually said that he'd never met, and I don't know if he ever FaceTimed, but he never physically met the voice actress until way after Cyberverse was done.
It just shows how good of a performance it is when that happens. Like, me personally, I've grown up on shows where the actors, like cast and crew, had to work together.
Yeah.
But still, it's still impressive.
Definitely.
Like, it does help when they can, but if not, I mean, you just need a good director behind everything.
Yeah.
And thankfully we do have a good director in the form of you.
Ah, thank you. And we have our amazing cast members in the form of THANATOS Prime.
And happy to be a part of the cast. I know for a bit there I was taking a bit of a hiatus from voice acting. I still kind of am, but I'm always happy to voice act for you.
No, I appreciate that, I really do. What's tell me something about Starscream that I might not necessarily know. Like, when you record, do you sort of go into like a mindset, or do you just sort of naturally go into Starscream's voice? Like,
when I was a kid, I used to go into like Starscream is a retooled version of my Joker.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I would always play with like an old Kenner Joker action figure when I was a kid, and I would always do the voice. So it's definitely inspired a bit by Mark Hamill. A lot of it's just my own fun. Like Starscream, every time he speaks, in his mind, it's the greatest thing ever to be said in that moment of history. So I just try to have... Huh?
That's a good way of saying that.
Yeah, I just try to have fun with Starscream. In his mindset, it's his universe. We all just live in it.
I love that. I think the beauty of having like an expanded universe, at least for me, I make the stories out of order, and there's no real reason for that apart from the fact that certain stories are bigger than others, and I like to get other ones done, or I like to focus on small projects, because sometimes when you're making a big project like End of Days, it almost feel like you're fighting a battle that you're losing sometimes, because it's so long. Whereas expanded universe, you get out in a month and think, wow, I'm in a project. But that's the beauty of having an expanded universe, is the fact that you could go to that version of Starscream where he rules everything and everything he says is the best thing ever, as he said. That's more the old Starscream, but I can pull an expanded universe out and get that version of Starscream and get you to voice that version, and you can fall into that Starscream. Or if you want a more mature Starscream where he's in power, we can go to End of Days. We've got that freedom and flexibility of having that expanded universe, that we can jump to different points of his personality. And it appears, Thanatos, your microphone is muted. There we go.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened, but I do like how you add those layers to Starscream. It doesn't just make him one note like, oh my gosh, here's Starscream. I can't wait to see how he's going to try to stab Megatron in the back and then somehow get forgiven again.
And I leave a lot of things on cliffhangers sometimes. I know that annoys a lot of people. Yes, I do on purpose. But, you know, I make a project and then I'll leave it on cliffhanger, make another project, leave that on a cliffhanger, and then I'll go back to the first one. So a lot of it is obviously engage the audience, that's one thing, but it's to also, you know, develop different aspects of it. And you can, rather than making it chronologically where it's episode 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, you skip to different points and suddenly that version of that character is different to when you watch the previous episode and you think, how do they get from point A to point B? And then that's where you make the story that fits in the middle of them, sometimes an expanded universe story, where we actually see the transition of that character.
It gives it it's like making a sandwich. You know, you have the two pieces of bread and the expanded universe is like the contents inside the pieces of bread.
I never thought we'd compare Starscream's journey to a sandwich. But it's true.
It is, and now I want a sandwich, so thank you.
Well, you're the one who said the sandwich, but now I'm hungry as well. We're just two hungry people on a podcast.
Talking Transformers, and I kind of want to play the song Hunger right now, but I don't want to get this flag for copyright or nothing.
We'll get a copyrighted for that, definitely. We can sing it in our heads, though.
I mean, Starscream is always hungry for power, so...
I think that's why I like the transition. At first, he's hungry for power, and it's not that in End of Days he doesn't want the power, but he looks at power in a different way, rather than thinking, oh yes, everyone looks up to me now, I'm the big bad, I'm in charge. Now he's, okay, how do I look after everyone? And that's the mindset that changes him.
It's definitely unique coming from Starscream, of all people. I mean, you've seen Decepticon or Predacon leaders with that mentality of looking after their subordinates, but Starscream doing that.
We've only ever seen Starscream have redemptions where he's become good or whether he's redeemed himself right at the end. I'm not going to obviously say certain stories in case people haven't watched those, series or the comics or whatever, but we've seen Starscream change his ways in the past, but I try to do it in a different way where he's still evil, but he's more caring. And that's something that we're actually going to see with we're going to see the difference between him and Megatron without spoiling things. Starscream is caring now, as we said, and we're going to see a big contrast to how Megatron comes back, because don't forget, Megatron spent years alone and angry, so now he's coming back. He's different. It's not,
all that time. I mean, you've heard about it with like prisoners and like thrown in the hole, what it does to their heads. Imagine Megatron, who's just filled with such seething anger and hatred.
It's not the same Megatron anymore, and it's not the same Starscream. They're both changed.
I'm really excited to see where that story goes.
It's probably the craziest we've ever seen Megatron. Like, I'm not going to say which part it is, but there's one part where Megatron has a fight with someone. I'm not going to say who or when, but trust me, that fight is going to last ages. It's not going to be like a...
Could it be Steve?
Steve. Oh, Megatron is going to annihilate Steve. I'm joking. No. Oh, no, Steve's too good a character to kill off. I'm not going to kill Steve off.
That makes me happy, mate.
Yeah. A little bit of reassurance for the audience.
Yeah, Steve and... I mean, like we said, we're never going to touch pipes again, so...
Maybe Steve should be a composer, and then he could be called Steve Jablonski.
He's already got a knack for fruitcakes. Maybe he has a knack for making great musical scores, too, because Steve Jablonski's music is just... It's on a whole nother level. Like, I really love Steve's scores when it comes to the Transformers movies.
You know what I love about your Steve is, I don't know if you've noticed this, But you're Steve between the expanded universe, well, the actual full cinematic universe, and my Christmas specials. Although they're the same figure, the same voice actor of you, they're both, they have the same voice, but they're both actually different mindsets. So Steve in my Christmas specials is just, I don't really know how to describe Steve, but in my...
He's a mystery and he's got a dragon wife. He has a bit of a fetish there, mate.
Yeah, and he has fruitcake. But in my main series, Steve, he's still got that similar personality, but he's more serious. Like when we see him talking to Deadlock in 1518 Days, he's actually serious and, he's loyal to Megatron still. And we do see him holding hope that Megatron will one day return.
Yeah, he actually gets kind of sad.
Yeah. And I'm glad you a moment ago you brought Pipes up, because even though Starscream's not shown in that, I feel like his presence is felt throughout, especially when Barricade's disoriented. Like Starscream's the one who made up Peace Pipes happen, essentially, the events.
You're welcome.
And yeah, that's the power Starscream holds. He's not he banished Barricade, Brawl, and Blackout in an expanded universe I will make soon, but he banished them. But the old Starscream would have killed them, but this new Starscream, as he's maturing, and he kicks them out as before End of Days, but after Dawn of Corruption Part 3, so between those stories. So he's still maturing. He's not the power strong he is in End of Days yet, but he's still maturing. But the old Starscream would have probably killed Barricade, but this one is...
He scars Barricade on an emotional level. Like, you can actually sense that when Barricade hears Starscream's, the words in that storm. Yeah.
And he traumatizes him, and he almost plays him, and he like a puppet, and Starscream knows manipulatively what he can do, and he knows one day, because obviously in Peace Pipes we see, again spoiler alert for the end, but at the end we see Barricade, Blackout, and Brawl still in Siberia, the outskirts, whereas in End of Days they're suddenly all back in the Nemesis. So at some point they come back, and Starscream knows that when he banishes them, he knows, again, he plays them like a puppet, and he knows exactly what will happen, and that one day they'll come back, and when they do come back, they're going to be desperate, and they're going to have to, they know that it's Starscream's way or no way. Or to the Allspark. That's another way.
He knows how to gaslight, he knows how to manipulate. I like that about Starscream. He's just such a conniving little weasel.
Yes, but now he's a strong one.
With a loyal dragon minion.
7 loyal dragons. Maybe that's where Steve's... Maybe that's where Steve's fetishes came from. Maybe he saw like Ripclaw and was like, "Oh, what man a piece."
About that, mate. You see, Ripclaw is me wife, so you better watch where you're treading there, mate.
Oh dear.
Yes, I just made that canon.
Oh no! Oh dear!
She had me at that first death grip with her tail, mate.
Wow.
I don't care that she wants to bite me bloody face off. I still love that woman.
I feel like Steve would be the one character that the Predacons or Decepticons won't be able to kill, because he's not annoying in the sense of like getting on your nerves, like stabbing you in the back, but he's just so innocent that I feel like even Decepticons would struggle to kill him. That I don't think they'd be able to bring himself.
He's like a puppy dog amongst the Decepticons.
Yeah. He's just too nice. And I feel like even Ripclaw would look at him and like maybe pin him against a wall and like say, "If you ever do this, I'm gonna kill you," but she never actually kill Steve.
No, she loves me, mate. Then she said it's more cruel to keep me alive and in a endless, hopeless marriage. For some reason. Her words.
But do you have anything like else to add to Starscream, like in this podcast?
I can't really think of anything. Like I said, it's a great way to introduce my Starscream whenever I get to it. Like, I'm still in the script writing phase, but it's just incredible how we'd have the same character, same voice, but just a way different direction, so to speak.
Obviously, without giving any details away for your story, do you feel like either my Starscream has helped shape your Starscream, or like to show you what you don't want to do with your Starscream, or had it helped you or anyway?
It's helped out a lot. Like it's just so amazing how different they are. You know, like yours actually has a bit of redemption, whereas mine just really doesn't.
I mean, I've peer reviewed some of your screenplay, and I've said before, you know, Starscream, I don't like him, and that's good. That's
the whole point, basically. Like, it's incredible how like people can like your Starscream just to like him, but they can like my Starscream just to hate him.
Yeah, and who was it who said it? Someone said something about Megatron once, and they said, you know, you've got a good villain when you like them. And I think that also goes for like characters like Negan of The Walking Dead. You know, when you hate them, but you love them at the same time.
No, there's a lot of villains like that. There's Negan, there's
the Joker,
King Ghidorah from Godzilla.
Yeah.
There's just so many villains that are out there that when they're written well, you love them. Like some of the old Disney villains, not the modern ones because they all kind of suck. But like, a story can really be as good as its villain, and you have some great villains with character and depth in your series.
I appreciate that.
And I'm happy that I have the opportunity to voice several of them.
Yeah, I mean, you voiced Starscream, Predaking, Soundwave, Steve.
There was the Jigsaw-like voice from the Halloween special. I had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, and you're going to have a lot more fun in the next one because, well, I'm not going to say anything, but...
No spoilers for that one.
I think you'll like where we go with it. I mean, we've told you ideas of what mine and Harrison's like next collab will be, and you seem to like where that's going. Definitely.
I mean, I think I voice more villains than I do heroes for you, technically.
Yeah.
Because who do I voice hero wise? I think I just voice like.
You voice Topspin.
There's two of the Dinobots and one of the Primes, I think.
Yeah. So you also voice Steelbane, and I know every time this comes up, you don't remember.
I seriously don't, dude. I don't remember any of his lines. I don't remember anything about him.
So for heroes, you voice Steelbane, Slug, Strafe, Topspin, and Prowl. For the villains, you voiced Bones in 1518 Days. You voiced like the Jigsaw voice. You voiced Croc, Predaking, Soundwave, Starscream, Steve, Twin Strike, and some Viacons. And Pipes as well.
You can't put Pipes as a villain.
I know, but I forgot to mention him as a hero.
Yeah, don't ruin Pipes like that. That's why we said we're never going to bring him back. So we don't tarnish his legacy.
I know, I meant to mention him as a hero, but he escaped my mind. But no, I think this is a good way to sort of wrap the recording up. We've spoke for a decent bit. And, you know, we can always do part 2 for this. So for people watching, as I mentioned at the start of the recording, I'm going to be hopefully sitting down with every single cast member on every single character. And on each character, I'll hopefully do multiple parts, because as future stories come out, we'll have more to talk about. Because at the moment, there's, you know, like the Megatron and Starscream dynamic. Although I know exactly where it's going, and THANATOS probably remembers bits here and there of the screenplay or what I've told him, we can't actually discuss it because it's not come out yet. So when it does come out, so when it does come out, then we'll actually be able to discuss like what happens. So there'll be multiple parts. But
no being a Tom Holland, no spoiling.
No, don't be a Tom Holland, please. But yeah, it's going to be for every character, and like I said, hopefully one day THANATOS and some other people could maybe join and ask me questions about my series. So yeah, that'll be something to look forward to as well. But I'd like to thank you for being on the sort of podcast series for the first time. So it's going to have a lot of behind the scenes and extra information about the characters that you might not already know.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me on here. I really appreciate it, and it was fun. It
was. I will leave THANATOS Prime's channel in the description below, and I'll also have it in the right-hand corner. So go check THANATOS out. He does a lot of cool videos, and you do a lot of shorts as well with little reviews, which I find
little reviews or warnings in the case of blue bolts, which it's been funded. People, beware.
Yeah,
beware.
I was still on the fence whether to pre-order it last night because I think today's the last day.
I think so. Like, I'm gonna hold off just because I have so many other pre-orders. I still have to get some Godzilla pre-orders.
The only thing that's making me want to buy him is the sort of FOMO, fear of missing out, because I love the actual base figure of Optimus. But I mean, I love the rest of it, and I love the
blue bolts.
Yeah, I mean, I love all of it, but I don't know whether I'd get the money's worth out of it.
Even then, you're letting evil into your house.
Yeah.
You're letting blue bolts win.
And once I have him in the house, I don't know if I can get rid of him. I'd probably throw the figure away and he'd come back.
He'll come back. You're going to be the screaming face in his chest that he proudly shows off.
He's a Ouija board of figures.
Yes, anytime a figure breaks, its spark goes to blue bolts and makes him stronger.
Yeah. Crazy. But no, I would like to thank you for joining me again, THANATOS, and for the viewers watching this. And if you do have any questions, if you want to ask me anything, or THANATOS, if anyone wants to ask THANATOS a question about his character, his voice acting, his other characters, anything else, comment below. And I suppose when we pick up with your other characters, or part 2 of this, we can answer them questions.
Yeah, I'd be happy to answer anyone's questions, and any subscribers, more than welcome to hop on over to my channel. I do these little shorts whenever I feel like, so...
We could even do a Q&A. We don't have to focus on one character. We can focus on the actual actor or actress and just have a Q&A round where we speak about their actual voice acting rather than how they feel about a character. So that'll be something interesting too as well. I'm not sure how often these episodes would come out. I'd like to say maybe once a month or once every few weeks, but I suppose we'll see where it goes. But
yeah, this has been fun, guys. This is THANATOS. I'm going to be logging out, so thank you very much, TransformersFan5000.
Thank you. And
remember.
Yep.
Ready?
I think so. We messed it up last time, didn't we?
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Till all are one.
I'll take it, because last time we just messed it up.
Horribly. All right, guys. You take care and stay safe out there.
See ya, folks.
Adios.